Like to change the item number 9 from attorney-client closed session for Township Administrative Office upgrades to an open session discussion regarding a proposal for services from TKDA.
Okay, and we're also adding consent agenda items 5B and C,
Yes, sir.
and we just have a couple of supplements for items 6A and 7A.
That is correct as well.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Ruzek, second by McCune. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Second item is to approve payment of the bills. Do you have a chance to sign off that sheet?
I did. I'll move to approve.
All right,
I'll second.
motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? That motion also carries. Item number 4, approval of the minutes of February 20th, 2019. Any additions, deletions?
I'll move to approve the minutes. There were a couple minor typographical corrections that the clerk treasurer says have been corrected. So with that, I will move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. All right, item number 5, consent agenda. There are 3 of them. Scott, would you like to go through them?
All right, consent agenda 5A, GIS implementation. Authorize TKDA to prepare a presentation for the March 18th, 2019 Town Board meeting. 5B, conditional use permit request at 2401 Buffalo. Call a public hearing for Monday, April 1st, 2019 at 7 p.m. to consider a request for conditional use permit to allow an entryway expansion. And item 5C, conditional use permit and variance requests at 5508 West Bald Eagle Boulevard. Call a public hearing for Monday, April 1st, 2019 at 7 p.m. to consider a request for a conditional use permit and a 20.8-foot right-of-way setback variance and a 42.8-inch lakeshore setback variance to all construction of a guest cottage.
All right, I have a motion for consent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Chair, discussion or request? Under consent agenda item A, we would like to add authorize TKDA to prepare a presentation for the March 18th, 2019 or the April 1st, 2019 Town Board meeting. So it would be either this next Monday or the following, or you could put at a later date. It's up to you.
Which works for you?
Well, don't quite know yet, that's why.
I say we keep the 18th just to put the pressure on. Either of those 2 dates we should have on there just for a little flexibility anyway.
All right, well, if we leave it March 18th, we can always alter it if we have to. All right, does that work for a friendly addendum to your motion there,
You
Scott?
betcha.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. Item number 6, old business. 6A is the water meter replacement agreement. You gonna handle that, Patrick?
Mr. Chair, the township attorney is working on a request from Mr. Ruzek from earlier to review the indemnification of the proposed agreement.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. I looked through it. I think certainly you can ask to put one in, and I'm just drafting up language as we speak to send.
And what section would it be in?
It seems like a natural place would probably be around either in between 5 and 6 or after current number 6, right around the mutual release and non-admission of liability.
Will that serve as a hold harmless, basically, for insurance purposes?
Yes,
For
that
the-
would be the
For the
idea.
installer?
Yep, defend and indemnify, hold harmless, so.
Good, all of that?
Mhm.
Well, does the board feel comfortable on moving on, passing this with just that minor alteration?
I'm comfortable.
Yep.
I have complete faith in the attorney will handle it properly.
So I'll move to approve with the stipulation that they get something put in there for indemnification or hold harmless.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Pressure's on you now. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. All right, Item 6B, pavement management program. Would
Yes.
that be Larry?
And we'll defer, I just want to give a little opening here to Larry. It will be just a brief discussion, mostly for Mr. McCune's benefit, regarding the feedback we got at our first neighborhood meeting last, was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday. And our street management project. Larry, do you want to?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. Yeah, just to give a little bit of background on the meeting itself, we had roughly 30 residents show up for the meeting, which is a decent showing for a mill and overlay type project. The presentation included a brief pavement management overview. The proposed projects, talked a little bit about the proposed projects for 2019. Talked about the step we're on now in studying the areas, and then went over the process for the improvements. And then we got into the discussion, and the discussion, certainly with any project, the costs and assessments were there's questions regarding that. Questions on traffic and discussion of truck traffic. And then just individual comments or questions on, individual items for neighborhoods, a curb replacement, how far advanced the degradation is, utility replacements, and those type of things. So those are kind of the general topics of the discussion. In addition to the meeting, we've sent out questionnaires to the neighborhood, and I just want to give you an update on that. We have 246 properties involved in the project in the 5 areas we're looking at. And of that, 112 responses we have to date, which is a good percentage, 45% right now have returned the responses to the questionnaire, which is, I normally see 30 to 35%. The main topics of the survey responses are, certainly some drainage concerns that they're seeing. There's comments supporting the work, and there's comments saying they're not supportive of the work. The not supportive seem to be 5th Street and Hobie.
I was gonna say, which Hobie, though? Hobie has got a couple segments in there. I know we heard from someone on one segment of it, north. So we should make sure.
Yeah, the Hobie area is just one area as far as we're concerned, so I guess we can look in more detail as to where those responses came from, which part of Hobie. There's concern with West Bald Eagle Boulevard that came through in the survey, and we're preparing a kind of a spreadsheet with all the comments, or all the kind of summarizing the comments. So we'll get that into the feasibility report, and you'll see it as we proceed. So that's my update for you.
Well, I know, obviously, your final recommendations are a little bit relying on bore samples and a final grading of the roads. I know with the weather still so brutal and all the snow, any idea when you even think you'll be able to even attempt that?
Yeah, they're still planning to do that. On another project, just got them completed on another project, so it's coming. So they have to call in locates, and so they don't hit utilities when they're boring. So some people out on the project areas might see markings on the street as they're trying to choose the location of the borings. But yes, we expect them to be completed soon.
Plus, there were a couple comments made from the neighborhood that some streets they thought were just seal coated not recently, or some streets they thought should last longer than 12 years or whatever it was. You documented most of that, and you're ready to address those concerns?
Yes, like you said, the soil borings will help tell the tale on what's happening. Some of those streets that are degrading at a faster rate, we have to explore that with the study, so.
Because it's hard to say, I mean, it's like looking at a house, you don't know what's under the coat of paint till you peel it, so. You did a pretty good job of trying to explain that to the residents. I hope they were patient enough to give you a chance to sit down and actually show some stats on what we're doing, so.
Yeah. So we'll have another neighborhood meeting with them after we've completed the study, and then we'll have a lot more answers for them then.
Okay.
Larry, I have a couple questions for you. One, if there is one of these cells that we're talking about doing road work on that is convinced to be falling off the project list for 2019, do we have a backup contingency to add something else? I'm just trying to figure out if, instead of having 3 projects, we ended up with 2 projects, do we really want to have, as long as we're doing our feasibility, do we need to have something in contingent to add and start?
Yeah, no, we would have to start the process over.
Start all over.
If we
Okay.
added another street segment, and get quotes for borings and study and,
So there's no advantage to doing that now? No.
no, and I wouldn't know what to select. We chose these streets specifically because of where they're at in their life cycle, and the other mill and overlay candidates, I think we have a few more years before we need to do them. So why not take advantage of those few more years?
So I guess where I was going was because of what Ed had said about questioning that it was seal-coated so many years ago, why it's a short amount of time based on your graph of life cycle. And yes, you had some answers as to why, how they degrade at a quicker rate and this and that. But I just wanted to make sure we are comfortable that if we decide, as Hobie, as an example, the whole area, that is what we're considering is the whole area, not taking 2/3 of it and just dropping off one portion of it. It's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what we're studying now. Now, it'd be the board's decision if any of the projects advance, or some of them not advance, or parts of them not advance. But we will have more of those answers on costs and what's going on with these streets in about a month,
Okay,
month and a half.
Then the other part of this, is there any advantage for the next meeting to isolate it out by these different areas? Like if at 6:30 you're talking only about Hobie, so those people only have to hear that part versus Weston Woods or 4th and 5th Street? Are the issues going to be exactly the same?
They're going to be very similar,
Okay.
yes. The only one that's a little bit different is White Bear Parkway, because that's a little bit different improvement. We may get back to a mill and overlay depending on what we find with the boring and coring of the pavement. But if that turns into a reclamation project versus a mill and overlay, maybe that one would be a little bit different.
Well, what I was trying to hopefully get at is if you get one neighborhood that is more for it than against it, you know, do you lose some advantage if there's a lot of another neighborhood where they're all against it?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you got this groundswell of everybody being against it. So I was just trying to see if there was a way you could isolate it when you're talking about specific neighborhoods, even if the issues are the same.
We can
As a possibility,
think about that, yes.
something to think of.
Scott, you got any questions, Larry? You know, you brought up White Bear Parkway. I think the residents were maybe not informed well enough that exactly how much the commercial properties are assessed compared to the individual residents. So I think they're feeling like they're fronting too much of the burden because of that road with industrial stuff on there. So we gotta really kind of maybe get a better understanding of how that impacts them too.
Yeah, and I mentioned that the other commercial property will be assessed. We haven't broken any of that out yet.
Right, but I don't, you know, and I know it's a formula, but
Yeah.
you might want to be ready to delve into that more in detail too.
Sure.
That's a good point.
Dale, you got anything else to add? You were there.
No, I would agree with everything that's been said. There were residents who were concerned, there was traffic brought up, there was drainage issues, but I think a lot of the drainage issues will be addressed with the mill and overlay too, so they won't be an issue
I mean,
anymore.
did you go back and look at some of the issues that were brought up about roads being done? I mean, some people's memories are a little foggy when it comes to that too, you know?
Yeah, no, Fifth Street was done last year. But again, it's more of a surface protection to extend the paving life, but, not knowing that Larry's got this proposal that's great, we're gonna extend that life of that by addressing that sooner than later, so we don't get to the point of reconstruction. So, and the plan is kind of formulated here at the later part of this year versus earlier, so I went ahead with the preventive maintenance on the, not knowing for sure where the program was going.
Another question, on the questionnaire, you mentioned West Bald Eagle Boulevard. Is that relating to when is it going to be resurfaced?
Yes.
Okay, so we should be able to get that, a better answer on that based on what we were told in the last month, so,
Yep, the county is going to do West Bald Eagle north of H2 this year.
north of H2.
Yep.
And I mentioned that at the meeting.
All right, anything else?
No, thank
Any
you.
other comments? All right. Let's see, it's just informational, correct? All right.
Yes.
Item number 6C, the HR project update.
Yep, Mr. Chair, we did complete submitting our antiquated employee handbook to MRA a couple weeks ago with staff comments regarding what's applicable anymore. Back to MRA, we did get that back with comments which I shared with the board last week. I would like permission to advance with that project. I tried to get a hold of Chad on Friday to ask him, but of course he's gone. But I just heard back from our MRA representative today anyway, regarding what it's going to take to have our employee manual brought up to speed. If you'll recall, the town board did allow for up to $14,000 in the HR project. This huge part of our project will still only cost us about $1,000. And we have discovered there were at least 5 to 6 items in that employee manual that we are out of compliance with statewide and federal that we need to get up to date immediately. So I would like to be authorized to get going on that endeavor as phase 1.
You have a timeline on that?
Yeah, if I give them word tomorrow, we should have a edit for you to review no later than April 1st, your first meeting in April.
Question. This is a step that we need to move forward on, but is there any part of this that is going to be impacted by our labor management agreement with our union employees?
The actual, you mean the contracts?
Is it, yeah, whatever they come up with, are we gonna have to go through that, share with them and approval by them, or the union
We don't need to
representatives?
get approval. It would make it a lot less clunkier if we coincided with the language of our existing labor contracts.
So your plan is to coordinate?
Correct. That is correct. So this is phase 1, and I actually have a phone conference with the people who will be doing the actual audit of our HR processes on Friday. And I will have a quote for that for you to approve at the March 18th meeting. So I'm hoping to have all of this completed probably by the end of May.
So tonight, are you looking for just approval to move ahead with what you call phase 1, or
Phase
to
1.
authorize?
Phase 1.
But is that authorizing money
Yes.
to spend?
Yes.
In addition to?
Yep. Up to, we'll put it up to $1,250.
All right, Scott, you got anything?
And the board will be given edits and drafts for their approval before it is submitted officially. And in proper HR procedure, each one of our employees will sign off on that official version going forward. We don't have that in existence right now.
I'll make a motion to move forward with what we will call phase 1 of our HR project, with a with MRA to a cost up to $1,250.
I'll second that.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thanks, folks.
All right. All right, item number 7A, lockup. We have a public hearing for 5518 and 5520 Shady Lane. First order of business here would be, I need a motion to waive the reading, noting it's been properly published.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Tom, I'll tell you, why don't you give me a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Tom?
All right, two properties involved here, located in the R1 residential suburban residential zoning district. This is Shady Side Lane right here. This is over on the east side of Bald Eagle Lake, Taylor Avenue, Hugo Road. On this side here. Thank you. So again, it involves two properties on Shady Side Lane, 5520, 5518, both under the same ownership. And the plan here is to, well, there's three requests being proposed here. One, a lot line rearrangement, and two variances to allow demolition of this home at 5518 with reconstruction utilizing the same foundation that exists. A small 12 square foot portion of that on the east side, no, I'm sorry, on the south side, is located only 5 feet from the side lot line. Minimum side setback requirement is 6 feet in order to reconstruct on top of an existing foundation. A 1 foot side yard setback variance will have to be approved for this section right here. Second variance being proposed is a right-of-way setback variance for this garage here, proposed to be 10 feet off of the Shady Side Lane right-of-way. 35-foot right-of-way setback is required for structures. That's a 25-foot right-of-way setback variance. And as part of that, again, they're taking down the existing home, removing an existing garage in this location right here, real close to the right-of-way. Also relocating or demolishing an existing shed and taking that out. Both of those to be replaced by this proposed garage. So two variances involved with that, right-of-way setback variance, side yard setback variance. And then thirdly, it's a lot line rearrangement being requested. And what they're proposing to do is essentially take this portion of 5520, this triangular piece right here, detach that from 5520, add it to 5518. That's called a minor subdivision or a lot line rearrangement. Purpose of that, and this is reflected on the survey right here, this is that triangular shaped parcel right here. So you can see a good portion of the garage is proposed to be on that newly reconfigured lot. Currently, 5518 is a lot that is 7,860 square feet in area. With the triangular detachment from 5580, in addition to 5518, that lot will become 9,478 square feet in area, getting close to the town's minimum lot size requirement of 12,000 square feet. Meanwhile, 5520 here, that will far exceed the minimum lot size requirement, a little bit over almost 32,000 square feet in area. So again, three actions being requested here tonight. First off, a minor subdivision or lot line rearrangement. Then secondly, the 1 foot side yard setback variance and 25-foot right-of-way setback variances. Both the Variance Board and Planning Commission reviewed the proposals and did recommend approval of the variances and minor subdivision as requested.
Tom, is it possible to split 5520 again in half?
Oh,
Has there even been talk of that, or does this,
there's been no talk of that. I mean, potentially you could do something like this and It also abuts Hugo Court here.
Well, that's why I'm
Small
kind of
area.
curious if that was brought up, or if this impacts that lot split.
If
What,
this,
what they're doing now, would that affect if they ever wanted to split it up again?
well,
Or is it
yeah,
even
I don't
part-
think this piece is just because of the location right here. If they were to do another subdivision, it'd have to be in this open area here. I'm not sure what the topo is, or if it's wet or not, but I guess potentially you could see a subdivision here and access here or access here. Would take variances either way, so it's not very clean.
Okay,
But there has not been any discussion of that.
all right. Yeah, you got anything?
Nope.
Steve, you were at planning commission?
I don't think I was I at this one? I don't remember if I was there, actually. I don't remember if I was at this one. No, I have no other questions. I did read through it. I thought they covered the items that need to be covered. So no, I have no questions.
All right, hearing no questions from Tom, I need a motion to open up for public comment.
So moved?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All right, anyone here to speak to the subject?
I'm here as a proxy to my parents, but I think Tom.
Well, if you'd like to just come up to the mic, just introduce yourself and your
Yeah,
address.
sure. I'm Tom Fleming. I'm just proxying for my parents. This is their property. But I think Tom, encapsulated everything that needed to be said, so I have nothing to add on that. Unless you guys have any questions for me.
Well, the reason I asked about another split is because it's a big lot,
Yeah.
and I guess I haven't seen the actual backside of that, if it's even possible to split again. I was just wondering if this split is impacting you for maybe another future split, but,
Yeah, I mean, it is dry and buildable, but at this time, there's no discussion to demise it again.
okay,
I don't think there will be, if at all, for a long, long time.
okay. All right, any other questions of the applicant?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
No one else wants to address the issue? I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, that motion carries.
Could I just ask one question, Tom?
Pardon?
To Tom, could I just direct one question to Tom?
Sure.
So the right-of-way's still there, the road right-of-way's still there, it's just gonna be 10 foot off?
It will be,
Because that area we're getting tough with snow.
yeah, it'll actually be better. It'll be 10 feet separation from here. This is the road here to the garage. Currently, there's 3-foot separation in this location right here, so it gets a little bit better.
Well, just looking up in the end, it's always been a challenge.
Is that where you just usually pile the snow?
Well, no, I think they go up and in dogleg to the left. I'm just trying to, I don't really know. I was just making sure we got the right of way still there and a little bit of storage in the right of way. So we haven't lost anything. That's all I was verifying.
Not losing any right-of-way, you don't have much to start with. It's only 20 feet wide, but
I'll agree
yeah,
with that.
it's not getting any smaller.
Right, that it, Dale?
That's it. Yep.
All right, any final questions?
No.
Then I'd be looking for a motion for 5518 and 5520 Shady Lane.
All right, based on the variance board, planning commission, and town staff review and recommendations, approve the 25-foot right-of-way setback variance, the 1-foot side yard setback variance request, and the request for minor subdivision/lot line rearrangement at 5518 and 5520 Shady Side Lane to accommodate construction of a new home with detached garage.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, thank you. All right, moving on, item 7B. We have 5858 Centerville Road, a conditional use permit, request to allow cell tower antenna addition. Patrick, you taking that one? Or
I've got
Tom, you
this
doing
one
it?
here. Yeah, this is another conditional use permit reviewed by the planning commission. So we've got, yeah, let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit better here. Okay, so we've got I-35E over on the east side of the property.
Hey, Tom, before we start, this is a public hearing.
Yeah.
I need a motion to waive the reading.
So moved?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And then I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, sorry. Now you can continue.
Okay, thank you. This is, got zoomed in on an aerial photo of the SMC buildings on Centerville Road here, 35E on this side. Two buildings that they have. They also have a 130-foot high cellular phone monopole that was approved under a conditional use permit by the town quite a few years ago. And they are asking approval of a conditional use permit to modify that structure a little bit. It was constructed in 2005. This is industrial zone property. There's only one carrier on the cell right now, or on the tower right now, and that's at a 120-foot height. They've got a second carrier who's looking to add additional antenna at the 100-foot height. So when this was reviewed and approved by the township, again back in 2005, one of the requirements was if we're going to allow a monopole, it's got to be set up for additional users if necessary, one of the conditions of approval. So again, this is a second user proposed to locate on the monopole. There is a ground level fenced area that does have some mechanical equipment too. This will be expanded as part of this project also. So it's not putting up any new poles or anything. It's simply just locating more antenna on the existing monopole, 20 feet lower than what's there now. These monopoles are a conditional use in the I-1 zoning district, and therefore a conditional use permit needs to be approved to allow the addition of the antenna structure and also the ground level equipment in the fenced area just below the monopole. Reviewed by the Planning Commission, recommended approval of a conditional use permit for this.
Tom, can you run me by the players here? Is it SBA Corporation that owns the pole? At least from all these documents, that's all, what I can gather?
If I were to guess, and it's a little bit of a guess, I believe that SMC owns the pole and leases it to SBA.
Okay, then SBA has, looks like T-Mobile on it right now,
Sounds correct.
and
Yeah.
Sprint is the one who wants to add.
Could be, yeah.
All right, so I got kind of all the players down here?
I think so.
And do they, maybe it's not our concern, but does Sprint and T-Mobile have to have an agreement between them and the owner of the pole, or how does that work?
I'm not aware of that. They need to be compatible, obviously, and work together. But I've not run across that before. I think the leases are with the owner of the pole.
Okay, so SMC is dealing with lease agreements with both carriers? All right.
Or their agent SBA here.
Well, it just seems confusing with all these players, and who's who?
Yeah.
Jeff, our attorney, are you familiar with any of this or not? On how this process works?
Not in mine would be a guess as well, but I would assume that, yeah, the carriers would contract directly with SBA or whomever for the lease agreements.
Yeah, that would be my understanding, because SBA Communications, they have an agent, so that's who's kind of coordinating this whole thing, and T-Mobile was one, now they want to add a second, so it's not our skin in the game.
All right, well, as long as Township doesn't have to be involved in any of this contract agreement, so.
No.
Okay.
The town has a number of cell phone users on water towers and the monopole at the town hall, but no, this is a different contract, private contract.
All right, any other questions for Tom?
No.
All right, I need a motion to open for public hearing.
So moved?
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Anyone here to speak to the addition to the poll? Going once, going twice. All right, motion to close.
So moved?
I'll second.
All right, motion made and seconded and carries. All right, Steve, you do this? Did you look
Yes.
at it at the planning commission?
Yes. So, based on the Planning Commission and town staff review and recommendation, approve the conditional use permit / zoning certificate with attached requirements for 58 Centerville Road to allow for additional antennas on the monopole.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. All right, moving on into new business. Item 8A, the Hammond Road Water Tower painting. Who's going to take that one?
Over here.
All right, Larry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. The Hammond Road Water Tower was built in 1982, and the paint on the water tower has reached the end of its useful life. As a part of your capital improvement plan, this tower is scheduled for repainting this summer. Plans have been prepared, and it's ready to go out for bid. The work will involve repainting, and it should take roughly 3 to 4 months to complete. The painting needs to happen with the humidity and temperatures in the correct range, and then it also needs the proper cure time for the paint. Some minor repairs are also planned for the water tower, including a concrete floor, replacing aerial lights on top of the tank, valves, and improvements to the service door. We're looking to try to get bids, get it out for bid and receive bids on March 27th, and then it would come back to the town board on April 1st for your consideration. So really tonight is approving the plans and specifications and authorizing advertisement for bids for the Hammond Road Water Tower painting.
Larry, how are you coming with negotiations with the cell towers?
Yes, there's one carrier, I think it's Sprint, on the water tower.
And I can speak a little bit to that. Jim has talked, Chad and Jim have worked with the carrier, and it seems like everything's fine. They're gonna
Well,
have.
I mean, we had an issue last time on the last tower, so I want to make sure we avoid the
From
complications.
my understanding, we don't have an issue with this carrier, with the agreement, unlike the last talk. I agree. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I just don't want to get caught up in that again.
think we're good.
There's notes in the plans saying that coordination needs to happen with Sprint as a part of the plans and specifications.
So they're aware that they're going to have to take down, set up a temporary, and reestablish it once it's painted.
They're coordinating with the telecommunications companies on removal, replacement, or protection of equipment during painting.
Okay. Now, they are fairly confident they won't have any service loss? Or that we're not going to have to guarantee that they won't have any service loss? Because I think that was part of the issue the last time.
Well, I think there was contract issues. It wasn't clear as to whose responsibility it wasn't. And my recollection is this is, being a different contract, is much clearer of our responsibility versus their responsibility. And so,
I know
rely
the
on what the
concern,
contract says.
concern would be cost, and to my understanding, there's no cost for the removal and replacement.
All right, as long as you guys are comfortable with making sure we're not going to have another conflict with that. All right, any other questions?
That's a loaded question.
All right, looks like we have two motions here. One approve plans and one authorize advertising.
Then I will make a motion based on the town engineer review and recommendation to approve the plans and specifications.
Second?
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 And number two, based on town engineer review and recommendation, authorize advertisement for bids, noting that the bid opening date is Wednesday, March 27th, 2019, at 11 a.m. at the Township Administrative
Oh,
Offices.
good catch. All right, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, completes that. right, moving on. Item 8B, Public Works Service Store Canopies. Who's gonna tackle that one?
That's gonna be me, Chairman Purdon, and Supervisor McCune, and, boy, Steve.
Whoever.
Why am I having a,
The other, you can say the other
Hold me
Bob, but
off.
he's not here, so.
that was a struggle, but anyway, we'll go on. The town board approved,
That was painful.
yeah. This will go better. The town board approved the Public Works Canopy revised plan specs and authorized advertising for quotes back in January, on January 23rd, 2019 meeting. The project was advertised in the, this is regards to the Public Works canopies over the service stores. Advertised in the White Bear Press on the 30th of January and the 6th of February. Quotes were due on the 25th at 4:30 PM to the town administration building. 3 quotes, the town received 3 quotes, one of which was withdrawn by the contractor. S.J. Anderson Construction has chosen to withdraw their quote. The 2 remaining quotes were from Cobra Construction and Parkos Construction. Cobra Construction was the low quote at $29,479.68, and Parkos Construction Company was the next bidder at $69,200. I'm recommending approving the quote from Cobra Construction. I have verified that they understand the scope of the work involved with the construction and installation of the canopies. The bidder withdrew, did not understand the bid documents and had not visited the site, so I was assured by the Cobra Construction that they had reviewed that and that they could do the work for the amount of the quote. There is $35,000 designated the capital building fund for the project. Board action I'm requesting is to accept the 2 quotes and to accept the rejection of the 1 quote and accept the other 2 quotes, and to approve the quote from Cobra Construction for $29,479.68 for the construction and installation of the canopies over the 2 service doors at the Public Works building. I hope it didn't confuse anybody.
It always amazes me how far apart these quotes
I
can
was
be.
gonna say, that was huge difference between the two.
It just, sometimes it's like, I don't understand, but, all right, well, I guess that's well within our budget. Any questions of Dale?
Well, I because of the huge discrepancy in those when you put the bids out, I mean, were they identical as to what the scope was going to be on this?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, the plans were identical, they reviewed, and they both had seen the building,
Okay.
where the other individual hadn't gone and investigated some of there was some incidental work, moving electrical and saw cutting that's just identified as incidental with the project that the other vendor withdrew didn't understand, so. And it is, go ahead.
This may be a reflection on how well the economy is too, though. People are busy, they don't need the work, and if they're bidding the work, they
Yeah,
don't,
that's
they don't
true.
seem to care if they get it or
Good
not.
point.
There's some truth to that, and actually, Cobra had bid, if you remember, we had quoted this out earlier last summer, late last summer,
Yep.
and we only got the 1 quote, and it was from Cobra. This one is about 10,000 less this time, so,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of time frame are we looking at for this?
Well, the work
If
I'm
we
hoping
accept-
is, obviously with the snow on the roof, it'll probably be May before they'll order material, they'll get going on ordering the material. There's some I-beams they gotta order and steel for the canopies. So that will happen. It's just the actual installation might not take place till the snow's melting.
Summertime.
That's why they're putting these down, is to prevent anybody from getting hit.
And we
That's
ran
nice.
the idea of just requiring helmets by
Yep.
OSHA, but
Yeah,
it didn't work.
it's a good idea.
That's right.
Is this gonna interfere at all with your, public works duties?
No, we'll be able to accommodate the construction of those.
All right, any other questions? Looks like we're gonna break this one up into 2 motions also, the receive of the quotes and award the quote.
I'll move based on Public Work Director's review and recommendation to receive the 2 quotes.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second one is the award the quotes to Cobra.
I'll make a motion based on the Public Work Director review and recommendation, award the quote to Cobra Construction, Inc. in the amount of $29,479.68 for the construction and installation of canopies over the 2 service doors at the Public Works Building with funding from the Capital Building Fund.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, that motion passes. All right, moving on, item 8C, the 2019 Seal Coat Project.
That's me.
That's Scott, Ed.
Yeah, I know.
I'm Steve.
I'm gonna skip the formalities and stick with the program.
Use guys. Just say use guys.
Sorry.
No, I know, I deserve it. Anyways, if you're ready for me to present, I'll start on the Seal Coat project. So the 2019 Seal Coat project, as part of our infrastructure management program, we do maintenance, routine maintenance on the pavement surfaces within the town. And by doing that, we can extend that pavement life a little bit, not as much as a mill and overlay, but we can extend those intervals between mill and overlay based on those early seal coat applications. That being said, again, it's a timing thing, but the scope of this year's project will be the area, there's some completion of the area east of 35E, north of Otter Ridge Road and west of Otter Lake Road, along with several other street segments or areas. All the streets within the Birch Pond Townhome Association will be done this year. The area east of Portland Avenue and north of Buffalo to Silver Fox will be done, and then the area on the west side of Portland, Bloom Road, Morgan Trail, and Border Pine Court will be completed, and then Livel Street will be completed this year. And then there's another section just south of Stillwater Street from Otter Lake Road to Mead Park to the railroad tracks. That's going to be completed also. And there's maps. I did have the maps in there, but you'd seen the maps when I got the authorization to go ahead and advertise for bids, sealed bids, and so based on that, we advertised for the project in the White Press on February 14th and February 21st. Sealed bids were open on February 28th at 10 a.m. in the Town Administration Building. We received 3 bids, and they were from Allied Blacktop Company, Aztec Corporation, and Pearson Brothers. There's a bid tab attached. Public Works staff is recommending that we go ahead and award this year's project to Allied Blacktop Company for $120,956.77. The funding for that will come from the Improvement Fund 505. We have $150,000 budgeted in for seal coating this year. Seal coating, crack sealing, and if any necessary engineering costs, which I don't foresee. My estimate was a little lower than the low bid, so I guess I want to bid this year, but the prices have gone up. A reflection of what Ed just stated, the economy's doing better. Oil prices have recently increased considerably, so I've seen definitely reflected in this year's seal coat bid, because I'm about 25 cents a square yard higher than last year on that. So it was, I've been fortunate to have really good prices, but I do see a trend happening now where it's higher, but maybe it's just due to the increase in oil costs this year, recently.
Did we have any carryover from last year, or did we use all of our budget from last year?
We used all of our budget last year, so I believe the improvement fund has more funding in it, but it's not necessarily designated for seal coat. We don't carry that over.
Who did our project last year?
Allied.
Allied did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
And it's about 25 cents more.
Yeah, and it's just a typical bidders. Allied and Pearson are some of the, Aztec has completed our roads. I think the last time they did our seal coat project was 2011, so it's been a while, but they seem to be just a little higher, not as competitive as the local guys. They're out of St. Cloud. So I'd recommend awarding to Allied Blacktop for the $120,956.77. Subtracting that from the 150,000 leaves a balance of 29,043.23, which I will be coming back to you for approval to, for crack sealing, and I have an estimate of crack sealing of 25,000, and I'm hoping that number's good for this year. And quotes, as I said, will be brought to the town board for approval at a future meeting for the crack sealing. Of course, the crack sealing would be completed before the seal coating, but I wanted to get our bids out as early as I could so we could get the best prices on the work. So my requested action is to accept the bids and award the 2019 seal coat contract to Allied Blacktop for $120,956.77.
All right, any questions?
My ongoing question about timing. You'll pretty much make sure that they will not be out there before the crack of dawn. Because last year, that was, I know you weren't around, but that was definitely an issue. So as long as you make sure that's clear in the contract that they are not to be doing that, I'm good.
It's in there. I'm not sure what happened last year different, but it was a crack sealing contractor, and I will make sure they are well informed this year.
Fantastic.
Do they work the weekends at all?
They do, but within the hours normally. If they do, it's normally within the hours
Okay.
that the
If
town
it's 7 to
has.
10 during the week, believe
10.
Saturday it's 7 to 6,
6, yeah.
and then Sunday is like 9 to 6 or something like that. Anyway, as long as they're familiar with the ordinance.
Well,
I'll
they
make
were on
sure they have a
Fourth
copy.
of July is when they were working, and it was not pleasant.
Yeah, and they started early, I
They started
understand,
very
and
early.
stuff, so the
They had some
holidays.
weather issues before, I think that's where they got kind of backed up, but, yeah, I'm comfortable, so I'll make a motion to receive the bids.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 And then I need a motion to award the contract.
I'll move to award the contract for the 2019 seal coat project to Allied Blacktop Company for $120,956.77.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, moving on. General business. Item D, stables of White Bear Township.
Yep, Mr. Chair, the board directed staff to look into the potential marketing and sale of the stables of White Bear Township in a certain manner, and asked that we consult with Bill Short as well as Kennedy and Graven, who have been our legal counsel for this type of project. We met with them shortly after the last town board meeting. What you have in front of you is a review of what has happened thus far. Tom, myself, Chad, and Bill all had a phone conference with Jenny. Is it Colander? Bolton, I'm sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. Where we explored a variety of options for the township. We asked her for some legal rulings on a few things. We have not received those yet. So essentially, I don't have any action for you tonight. When we get a legal opinion on our discussion topic surrounding stables, we will present you with a timeline and some action items as well. But I just wanted Bill to submit this to let everybody know where we are in the process thus far.
So basically, this memorandum he has with the 7 items are just, for right now, suggestions?
Yes,
Okay.
we are going to wait until we are given
All right.
direction.
I just want to be certain about that, because there's a couple of them here I have some issues with, so.
Yeah. I think at our next meeting, not only will we have a legal direction, we will have a timeline that addresses each one of these for you to take into consideration. In fact,
Because we are,
I've got the timeline already. I just didn't feel like it was appropriate to present it this evening until we have legal direction.
all right, it's just, we're moving into construction, even though it doesn't look like it outside, we need to move on this one.
Okay, judging from our conversation with Kennedy and Graven, there's a slim chance this is gonna happen this year for a variety of legal reasons.
You're talking about just this list of things we're trying to accomplish, or the actual sale of the property?
The actual sale. yeah, the development.
Pushing is just, based on a timeline, we'd be looking probably fall construction
At best.
at best for probably home construction next year.
So you're thinking if all goes well, we'd at least have a road in? This thing cleaned up with a road?
Yeah, we're really pushing it, but understanding that this year is the timeline, we're working towards that.
No way of expediting this?
We'll see what,
You're pressing.
But this, we've been hounding
I
for
know.
this for a year now, so.
the board has expressed reservations about proceeding with this project in a manner that you've discussed. We want to make sure that we have full authority to do so before we proceed.
Okay. You convinced me. You threw the legal thing at me.
Thank you.
In Mr. Short's memorandum of the 26th on the second page, just if there's a typo in there that should be clarified, because there's no such thing as a town bond. I think that's supposed to be town board. So
Oh,
you can just
okay.
clear that up for our
Sure.
future.
Sure, I got you.
I wouldn't be right if I didn't find something.
Yeah.
I will correct that for you, sir.
Thank you.
So, anyway, I wanted you to have review of what's going on. We will have hopefully a legal direction at our next town board meeting.
Maybe,
Just to give you an idea,
okay.
we were in that discussion for almost 2 hours. It's a complicated, what's the word I'm looking for?
Process.
Situation.
Yeah.
At the same time, will you see that this is on the executive meeting?
Yes.
Because it probably deserves a lot more discussion.
And it might be more, I mean, it's gonna eat into more timeline, but it might be more appropriate to have the discussion at the executive committee when we have that direction.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Any other questions? Hold his feet to the fire. Come on, do it.
Yeah, another real estate business, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Item number
Thank you
9.
for your patience and understanding.
All right, we're gonna discuss the, what are we gonna discuss here? Oh, the office upgrades.
Yeah. So, I had grandiose visions for having or getting input from the board tonight as to how you'd like to see the security upgrades that we had been directed to look into this evening. But Dale and I, kind of talking offline here, think it's more appropriate that we get designs in front of you to review and add your input. So the discussion doesn't need to be in closed session. What we need to have a discussion on is regarding the proposal that we received from TKDA after their first proposal. This is their second proposal. We gave the vendor some extra direction to scale down what it was they were considering in the first place. And we have arrived at, I think, a proposal that for the design and execution of security upgrades to tie into the capital improvement of the Township Hall, that we think is a little more appropriate and a little more manageable. So in conjunction with this year with replacing carpet, painting the interior, and doing some tiling in there as well. What else am I forgetting?
No, that covers
For this year.
this year.
Yep. And then we would be looking into redoing the roof 2020. But we wanted to get some efficiencies with the security aspect of it while we got all sorts of moving parts within Township Hall, which makes perfect sense. What we have, TKD has proposed, and I'll get a copy of this to you all here shortly. They have proposed that they administer the management of the design concept. They'll have kickoff meetings, they'll meet with the town board, they'll prepare 2 preliminary design options for you to have input on. prepare design, or product research, design review, and calls with staff about how to proceed, and a final submittal. That's in their initial task description. Their budget proposal was $20,500. That is less than 20% of our overall capital improvement budget. And that's just for the design portion of it. This was improved considerably from the first one. They have some additional work that might be necessary up to, and the initial proposal was about 180 hours total. They have some additional work that might be necessary in terms of presenting the design, especially after we've gotten feedback from you folks, up to 56 hours. That could make it about 26,000. But Dale and I talking don't think that it's necessarily going to get to that point. But if it does, we'll bring it to you first. So essentially what I'm saying is that of our total capital improvement project around Township Hall for this year, this is going to be close to 20% of that total budget. But we think we can get it done with this as part of that project.
Patrick, are they exploring any other municipal building designs that have already implemented this, so we're not reinventing the wheel? Are they looking at, I don't know what's around here that would even compare to how our building's laid out, but
We have a pretty unique building. I mean, if it's not your usual stodgy municipal hall. It's, my youngest calls it my work lodge. So, the initial design didn't have, security in mind. So I think we've got some challenges in terms of how we're going to rearrange space. But she did reference, having examples, not necessarily of other municipalities, but of other buildings that they have done. And she didn't seem like she was too overwhelmed with what we had available in terms of reworking it, so.
all right. So there's no major hurdles, we're just gonna have to, okay.
I was going to ask the question, how do we know this is, I got sticker shock. Still higher than I would think, but how, now, no disrespect, but how do we know this is even competitive with only one bid for a designer or
It's a good question.
manager? Is there any advantage to looking to see, just for peace of mind, that we're in the ballpark here? I mean, we only got one, we got TKDA, that's it.
And they're sitting right next to
I
you.
realize that. That's why I said it's uncomfortable. But it's a unique project, and I don't know,
It is a unique project.
I mean, I agree with you, it's very open and airy, and it's not, it was never designed with that safety features that I think are necessary in mind, but,
Or accessibility.
or accessibility. But I have nothing to compare it to as far as whether this is legitimate. Over 20% is the whole money set aside is.
If the board would like us to shop it a little bit, I mean, we will. I guess
Everyone always likes to have competitive bids, so.
Well, I'm curious as to how you
I-
do shop this. This is kind of a, I don't wanna say unique, but it's not exactly in everybody's wheelhouse, so I don't know. It might be a quest for staff to even see who else we could even get to. Maybe a regular security company would come in and give us some ideas on it. Maybe just even to get the contract of selling the equipment, they may give us some ideas. I don't know.
You know, I could ask. I bet you I could talk with Ramsey County.
The
about
sheriff's
some-
department?
Yeah, to see if they've got some recommendations for this type of work. You know, it's fair to get some comparables, I think, to see what else is out there.
Yeah, I don't want to be labeled as a person that doesn't want to go forward, because this is important. I just want to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our dollars,
Understood.
so.
If that's the board's desire, I mean,
My
that's,
desire.
that's something we'll do.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to have another set of eyes look at this thing, so.
Okay.
Scott, what do you think? You the security expert?
And Larry, if you're not too offended, we'll do that. I don't think Larry cares. But that might be healthy. So let me reference Ramsey County Sheriff Department, see if they've got any suggestions, first of all. And then second of all, we'll get a couple of comparables for you.
And is this something you think you could have at least some more info by the exec meeting?
I could probably give you an idea of what's out there.
Okay.
Maybe in terms of getting official submissions. I don't know, probably.
But at least if we explore some other options, we may have another line of bidding to take, so.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's fine. We can do that.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
All right, that completes our agenda. There are no added agenda items. We have open time. Anyone want to address open time? All right, seeing none. I need a motion to receive agenda materials and supplements.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.